For decades, journalist Jimmy Breslin was the voice of New York, capturing the gritty realities and untold stories that shaped the city and its people. From covering monumental events like the JFK assassination to the chaos of the Son of Sam killings, Breslin's work transcended reporting. And a new book, Jimmy Breslin, the man who told the truth, his storytelling as well as his character are explored. And joining us now is the author and our good friend, CBS News law enforcement contributor Richard Esposito. So good to talk to you.
Yeah.
You spent years researching this story. Tell me what inspired you to write it.
Well, when I was a very young reporter, I met Jimmy Breslin, and you know, he had a giant personality. He also was though he was a hard-headed guy, he was very generous to young reporters with advice. And in fact, when he died, there was on Facebook a list of reporters remembering what he did for them. So that's part of what attracted me to him. The other thing that attracted me to him was his amazing work ethic. He started early and worked late. He never stopped. And that's really impressive, as you know.
And it is quite incredible to see the depth of his reporting and the incredible stories and events that he covered over the course of his career.
Yeah, and he didn't just cover them, he made them his story. And he made them a story that you had to read. He did it for 50 years. He started with that Kennedy assassination, and it went all the way up to Occupy Wall Street and 9/11. That's a phenomenal span of history. And throughout it, he had the kind of impact that politicians really got scared when he started to call. He had the kind of impact where he really cared about victims. And these were his good qualities. He certainly had some difficult qualities, believe me. He was a difficult guy.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he lived in chaos. You know, he could barely do his expenses. We all know what that's like. He didn't know how to drive. His wife or his children had to drive him. And he was always late with his writing. He would sweat it out, and it would come in good, but he'd be changing it up till the clock ticked to deadline.
Well,
you know?
Sweating it out as writers, we understand how that goes.
Yeah.
Tell me about your research for this book. It took you quite a number of years.
It took several years of research. Jimmy had a wide impact, and there were a lot of people to talk to. Tom Wolfe and Jimmy Breslin worked together way back in the early 1960s. Gloria Steinem, Norman Mailer, and Tom Wolfe and Jimmy worked together at New York Magazine in the late 1960s. So all of these people had perspectives on him. His first editor was still living when we started, and the last editor at the Herald Tribune, Dick Wald, was up at Columbia. So that takes time, as you know, and you have a day job, and you've written books, so you know what that's like. You get to do your day job, and you get to write your books. So a lot of research. Then all of his material was scattered. So 3,400 or more columns, magazine articles. So the researcher had to help go to newspaper libraries, college libraries, and recreate his work so that we could read it all. And there's phenomenal, in the book you'll see, phenomenal gems that we don't know about, things he reported that were brilliant. His coverage of Watergate was unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah, just he really understood what it takes to impeach a president. A lot of people were focused on the tapes, Nixon. He was focused on how do you get to an impeachment. So,
well, I appreciate talking to you, and this is really fascinating to hear about his story, and I'm so excited to read it, and glad you wrote it. So, Richard Esposito, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And you can purchase Jimmy Breslin, the man who told the truth, this week.